Hello friends. In this class we'll be discussing a problem on development of surfaces. So basically you can expect questions from development of surface of either prisms or pyramids. So if you look at a pyramid you can see that the surfaces are made up of a combination of triangles, and whereas if it comes to a prism they are made up of a combination of rectangles. So if it is a cube they are combination of squares. So basically what we mean by development of surface is if we are covering something over that solid and if we are stretching it out, maybe a paper or something, the shape which we get when we are expanding that we called as development of surfaces. So if we take the case of a square pyramid, as we are going to discuss in today's question, the base of the square pyramid is square in shape, that is, it is having four sides and it's having four triangular faces. So it is having four slant edges, the combination of which will give four different triangles. So if you are developing that surface, it is nothing but a combination of four triangles. Now come to this question. A square pyramid side of base 40 mm and axis 60 mm is resting on the horizontal plane on its base with one side of base parallel to VP. It is cut by a plane inclined 45 degrees to the base and bisecting the axis. Draw the development of the remaining portion. So this is a question based on a plane which cuts the solid into two pieces and you are asked to draw the development of the remaining portion. So what will be the question? Probably we'll have to draw the entire solid and the portion which is remaining that should be highlighted and the other portion should be drawn as very thin lines. So basically we will be using two types of pencils, H pencil and 2H pencil. So 2H will give a lighter shade and H will give a darker shade. So the portion which is remaining that should be drawn using the H shade. Now, coming to this question, so primarily we have to identify which is a solid. Now, here the solid is a square pyramid. Now, let us see how that solid is resting on HP. It is resting on HP. That means the base is on HP and the axis is perpendicular to HP, or it is parallel to VP. That is a condition. And the dimensions are given. The base is 40 mm and the axis is 60 mm. Now, it is located in such a way that one of its base is parallel to VP. So that gives a criteria of how the symbol position has to be drawn. So whenever you get a question on development of surfaces, you have to first draw the symbol position which will include the plan and the elevation. So that we'll be drawing towards the left base. It start from the left base so that the development can be drawn on the right top portion. So usually we'll be drawing the development along with or along the side of the elevation depending on the case. Now a square pyramid base 40 mm and axis 60 mm. So we'll go with the drawing part. So first we'll draw the XY line, then the plan and the elevation. Now I'm going to draw the XY line. So this is the XY line. I'm naming it as XY. This is the XY line. And the condition given is base 40 mm, one side of base is parallel to VP. One side of base is parallel to VP. So I'm going to draw it in such a way that one side of base is parallel to VP. So this side is parallel to VP. Now I'm going to name it as say ABCD. A, B, C and D. Now the plan, it is just a prism. The question is a pyramid. So we have to draw the slant edges. So I'm locating the center by joining the opposite corners. And the apex I am naming it as O. So this gives the plan. Now I'm going to draw the elevation. So I'm using a different color for that. I'm going to draw that elevation. So from each of these points, I am projecting lines to meet the XY line. So this extends A and B. This extends D and C to meet the XY line. And this line extends to meet the XY line from the apex. Now the axis is given as 60 mm. So now I am going to draw the axis. So axis should be drawn as a chain line. So which is a line and a dot, line and a dot. So I'll draw a line first and then I'll convert that to a chain line. So I'm going to make it as a chain line. So line and a dot should be drawn as a line and a dot, line and a dot that way. So it's line dot. So this is the apex. It is O dash. And these points are A dash and B dash, and these are C dash and D dash. Now you join O dash with A dash B dash. So this is a generator O dash A dash as well as O dash D dash. Now join the next. Now I'm initially drawing it as very thin lines. Why? Because the question is based on a cutting plane. So you're asked to draw the development of the remaining portion. So the actual portion initially we'll draw as thin lines, then we'll convert as the portion remaining as continuous lines. Okay. Now let us see how the cutting plane is located. As you can see in the question, it is said it is cut by a plane inclined 45 degrees to the base and bisecting the axis. What do you mean by bisecting the axis? That is, the cutting plane is dividing this axis, or it is passing through the midpoint of this axis, or it is dividing the axis into two equal halves. So the axis height is given as 60 mm. So you can mark a point which is 30 mm from the base, or the midpoint you can draw as a thin line. Now this line I have drawn as parallel to the XY line. So if I draw a line inclined to this short line, that will mean it is inclined to XY line itself. Now the question is, it is inclined at 45 degrees to the baseline. So the cutting plane is drawn as a long line, short line, long line, short line. That is the syntax for the cutting plane. So this cutting plane is at an angle of 45 degrees to the base. So the cutting plane should go through the midpoint and it should make an angle of 45 degrees to the base. So here this angle is 45 degrees. So with the base it is making an angle of 45 degrees, which means this angle, the angle which you see here, I'll use another color for that. The angle which you see here, so this angle is also 45 degrees, which will be same as the one here making with the XY line. So this angle is 45 degrees. Now I am converting this to a cutting plane, which will mean long line, short line, long line and short line, long line and short line, long line and short line. Probably this is enough. Now we have to put two arrows to indicate in which direction we are looking at the solid. So we are going to look at the solid so as to give a sectional view. This we have discussed in sections of solids. So this is a cutting plane, and if the question is based on sections, probably this arrow is very important. Now we are going to highlight the area which is remaining. So this much area is remaining. So I'll mark this as a thick line. So here you can use H pencil. So only this much area is remaining. So other will be light in shade. So this is how you should draw. Now we'll go to the development of the surface. Now when we are developing the surface, one thing you have to keep in mind, you should always use true dimensions or true length for drawing the development. Now the development will be a combination of four triangles. So the base of the triangle will be 40 mm, and how about the sides? You're given only 60 mm as the axis, so you have to find out what should be this slant edge. Now, can you tell me whether O dash A dash or O dash B dash or O dash C dash or O dash D dash, they are the true length? Now, in an elevation, if a line has to be a true length, the corresponding plan should be parallel to the XY line. So when we have learned lines, we have seen that only when the plan is parallel to the XY line, the corresponding elevation will give the true length. In this question, you can see that none of these line edges, whether it is OA or OB or OC or OD, they are parallel to XY line. So this line O dash C dash or O dash A dash, they will not give the true dimension. So whenever you are going to draw the development, all the dimensions should be the actual one. So you have to find out what will be the slant edge. For that, you have to go for another construction. So I'm going for another construction. So I'm making this side any one slant edge. So let us take OD. So I'm going to make OD horizontal. For that, you draw a line from the apex, take a compass, take the radius as OD and center as O, and draw an arc. And you rotate this OD to this point. Say let this be D1. I make it D1. Then you project this point to the XY line. Now you join O dash with this point. I name that point as D1 dash. D1 dash. This is D1 dash. Then O dash D1 dash will be the true length. So I mark it here. O dash D1 dash. That will be the actual slant edge. So it's a very tricky question. So most of you will make a mistake by taking O dash C dash or O dash D dash as the actual length. So you have to take the new length, which is the actual true length. O dash D1 dash should be calculated and you have to draw the triangles with that length. Now coming to the development part, you locate any point. So it is better to draw it from here or you can have any location there. So I'm plotting say O dash here. This is say O. I'll make it as O. Now take this length, which is O dash C dash, and it is better to start with the actual inclination here. So whatever be the inclination seen here, it is better to draw parallel to this side. So that will look good. Since I'm having shorter space here, I'm moving it down here. Now this is the point A. So usually capital letters are used. So you have to keep in mind whenever you are drawing this development, the starting point and the ending point has to be the same. So if you want to make a cone, you have to keep the two ends of the paper together. So if you stretch it out, it will be a rectangle. The starting point is A, the ending point has to be A. Then only you can join them so that will be a single point. Now with O as center, OA as radius, you draw an arc. So I'm drawing OA radius and I'm putting an arc here. Okay. Now you take the compass, take the base, say AB, take a compass, measure AB from this plan, keep it over A and cut an arc or get a point on this arc. That will be the point B. Again, the same radius, cut a point here, that will be the point C. With the same radius, cut the next point, which will be the point D. Now you join these points. You now join OB, use black color for this, OB, OC, and OD. So they will all be of the same dimension. Now you join the base, which will be AB, BC, CD, and one more is remaining. Whenever you are starting something, you have to end it there also. So this is the point A. You have to end with the point A. So you start off with A and you have to end with A itself. Join DA. So this gives the development. Okay. Now You have to transfer these points. You are asked to draw the development of the remaining part. So for that, this is a point on O dash A dash. So that will be the point OA here, or the line OA here. So you have to transfer this point to capital OA. And you can see that the cutting plane is in O dash A dash, and we have drawn the line capital OA with the dimension O dash D1 dash. So you have to be very careful. So you have to transfer these points. You have to transfer these points on the elevation to the true length line. So this will be the point corresponding to A dash as well as B dash, and these will be the dimensions corresponding to C dash and D dash. Now you take the compass, measure from O dash till this point corresponding to A dash, and mark that point on. You take this dimension, locate it on OA. So you will get the point here as well as here. Then the point B. So it's the next point B, which is same. Now the other 2 points, take the compass, fix it on O dash, and locate the point corresponding to C dash and D dash. So that will be C and D. Now you can see that if you are cutting a pyramid or a prism, the edges will be straight lines. Only if it is a cone, it will be a curve. Now you have to join these with straight lines. So take in mind, take this point clearly. If it is a pyramid, you have to join these points using straight lines. So join all them using straight lines. So this is actually the development of the remaining portion. So since the question is on remaining portion, you have to highlight the remaining portion alone. To highlight all the remaining portion. So you can darken this area. So these edges you have to highlight. So I'm drawing it as a very thick line. When you are drawing, it should be 0.5 millimeters only. Each of these lines should be 0.5 millimeters. So better you go for a clutch pencil and use etch lead over it for drawing these areas. And this gives you a final answer. So this area should be extremely light. And the next part, you have to go for the dimensions. So here you can mark 30 and this height you can mark it as 60. And you have to write scale 1:1 over here. So you have to, like while naming, the plan is given small letter A, B, C, D. Elevation is given A dash, B dash, C dash respectively. And the development, capital letters, capital O, capital A, B, C, D, etc. So this completes this problem.